is a Furnish Brothers production.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Talkin' Buds podcast.
It is the Talkin' Buds podcast.
It's the Talkin' Buds podcast, folks.
Talkin' Buds podcast. Season 2, Talkin' Buds podcast. Let's go.
All he's got to do is get in the weight room, and oh, baby, he'll be a good pro in no time.
Good pro.
Stinks. Absolutely stinks.
Stanley Cup? How about let's just win a round?
What a dummy. You just know that Babs was looking to see if there was any gas left in the tank of that good pro. This
is the Talking Buds podcast. And now, here's your host, Rob and Ryan.
Yeah. Coming in, yeah. Flex, I just wanna win, yeah. LABB, who we running with, yeah. 2, 2, 3.
That is right. We are back. Talkin' Buds podcast. I feel like I say this every week because I do say it every week, Ryan, but no shortage of things to get into and discuss. One of the beauties of only doing one show a week is that we never run out of things to talk about. We just finished watching the Leafs. Hard-fought loss, buddy. Hard-fought loss. They deserved a better fate in tonight's 3-2 defeat at the hands of the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, I thought they played a great first, man. I was really happy with their first. They had spurts in the second, kind of ran out of gas in the third, but they had tons of chances. My mind was all over the place watching this hockey game tonight. Like, some shifts, I was so proud of the way they're playing, and then some other shifts, I'm just looking at the Blues being like, look at these guys, just all good hockey players. No superstars, no egos, good blue lines, solid goaltending. A bunch of solid hockey players make a really good hockey team. And it frustrates me a little bit.
Yeah. Before we dive deeper into this game, let's just brush over the two games that they played before this one. Since we last spoke, they had a 4-1 win last Friday night over the Columbus Blue Jackets, in which the offense completely took over. That's really all that needs to be said about that one. And then, Ryan, Saturday night, a 6-5 shootout loss to the Montreal Canadiens. The Leafs blowing a 4-1 lead in the third period. Two things. One, this started the narrative of same old, as how many times in the last few years have we watched the Leafs blow leads like that, especially in a short amount of time. And Kasperi Kapanen was the whipping boy for pretty much all of yesterday and then today into the game tonight. Did you see the play where he threw his stick, which resulted in the penalty shot?
Yeah, it was road hockey stuff. Like, what are you doing? That's what I do in road hockey.
Yeah, it's he's had a tough start to the year. Like, there's no two
brutal.
ways about it.
It's been brutal.
Yeah.
He's been brutal, and he's not just a guy coming up from the Marlies anymore. It's like, dude, you're expected to do something.
What was your reaction when they blew the 4-1 lead?
It brought me back down to earth a little bit after the two wins against Columbus and Ottawa. And I know Columbus and Ottawa aren't top of the NHL hockey teams, but it brought me back down to earth a little bit. I thought all the Canadiens' goals were kind of scrambly, and I don't want to say fluky, but kind of not just kind of random goals. I felt bad for Hutchison, to be honest with you, because I really wanted that one for him. We talked about it last episode, throwing him in for that game, and they did it, and I thought he was pretty good until, man, was it 13 minutes left in the third? They just imploded, just watching. And I know, and I said the Montreal goals were scrambly, but you look at you watch back some of the shifts, and because I had to rewatch it because it all happened so quickly, and like the standing around, it's like, oh boys, you're up 4-1. It's not over yet. You're not the goats yet. Like,
it's early in the
chill.
Season. It's early in the season, so I'll give them a break, being that they were in Columbus the night before and they might have just ran out of gas. I'm glad you mentioned the Hutchison thing, because I do not agree with those who I saw on Saturday night on social media ripping into the guy. When you play, and we'll talk about this later on in the show when we go in depth in the St. Louis game, but when you play the sketchy, standing around pylon style defense that the Leafs play more often than not, you hang your goalie out to dry. And the job of a backup goalie is to not steal you wins. It's to keep you in the game. And I thought he did that, and they hung him out to dry in the third period. So I totally disagree with anyone whose take is that Hutchison stunk on Saturday night. That just isn't true in my opinion.
Yeah, I see it as a team that I just watching them. It's like they got a little high on themselves going up 4-1. Like they looked around at each other and went, damn, we're pretty good. And then 10 minutes later, you weren't so good. And it's just, but it's the Leafs and Canadiens, man. Like the Canadiens are always going to get up to play the Leafs, especially with the Leafs being the team that is supposed to be a Stanley Cup contender, and the Habs are just kind of like bubble playoff team. Habs aren't a bad team, man. They're pretty good. They're not bad, and they showed it on Saturday night.
So I got to be honest with you. Ever since we started doing the pod, I try to be a more objective fan now. I less emotional, kind of sit on the sidelines and just be like really analytical while I'm watching, but I'm sorry. That all goes out the window when I look at Max Domi's smug face. I would love to take my stick and ram it through that guy's mouth. He is a little punk.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing, though. He knows what he's doing.
Him and his turncoat dad can't stand either one of them.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Get out of here.
I know. I kind of like him for that reason, though. Like, he's a guy you could easily just hate watch, and he gets under your skin.
Don't get me wrong. His chirp of Kap-anen is hilarious. I just know if I was on the Leafs, he'd get under my skin.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I know. You're right.
He's got one of those faces.
Face. He's one of the ugliest human beings I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, he's got one of those faces.
Smiles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got one of those faces where I can tell you right now, I would 100% take a stupid penalty and punch him right in the face.
Oh, yeah. No, I feel that for sure. Ugh.
Or like two-hander to the back of the legs.
Yeah.
Like when he's standing in front of the net. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Let's get this back on the rails here. I was concerned after Saturday night as well. You know, like we had 2 days to think about it, and because they looked incredible on Friday against Columbus, and you're just like, oh my God, here we go again. It's the same old. Like, how many times last year did this team get behind and then have to score their way back or reverse, blow a 4-goal lead like they did the other night, 4-goal lead because they just go to sleep defensively. So that brings us into the game tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets, defending Stanley Cup champions. Ryan, before the game started, I noticed that the fourth line was Nick Patan, Freddie the Goat, and Jason Spezza.
Oh, yeah.
Shocked by this.
Nicky Patan getting a shot.
Shocked by this.
You know what? Good for Babcock for throwing him in there, because it's like you got to keep Nick Shore in here. Like, come on, man.
Ryan, it's Babcock. He's you know how he gets when he loves somebody. And there was a whole rumor towards the end of camp there that Babs like freaked out on Nick Patan and told him to get off the ice.
Wow. Well, I thought the fourth line was they were okay. Like, you can't say they were great. They weren't on the ice enough, but for what they did, for the amount of ice time they had, I thought they were okay.
All right, so the game starts. Not the most eventful first period, quite frankly. Both teams, like, there were good chances on either side. Kerfoot had a good chance early. Ryan, I have here on my notes, at 15:02 of the first period, William Nylander had his first clean zone entry of the night.
Oh, yeah. I thought
he had a lot of them tonight.
I actually thought the first period was a very, like, it was uneventful in terms of, like, no goals were scored. But I thought,
that's what I meant.
I thought the pace and both teams going, like, end to end. The Blues kind of dominated for about 5 minutes, and then the Leafs just turned it on, man. They were flying, and they had so many chances. So many.
About the 10-minute mark, Matthews had a nice breakaway chance on a nice little like backhand pass there from Mango, and Binnington stoned him, and then Nylander got the rebound. Actually, no, Matthews shot it wide, and then Nylander got the rebound, and Binnington stoned him. And then Leafs go to the power play at 5:38. Again, more good chances. Jordan Binnington's a good goalie.
Yeah, man.
Like
Yeah,
it's
legit.
crazy that they just found him out of nowhere last year, and he took them to a Stanley Cup. And most of the time with guys like that, you're waiting for them in their second year to sort of come crashing back down to earth. And he was great again tonight.
Yeah, I had a feeling after the first. I'm like, this guy is going to have one of those nights. He's a Richmond Hill boy. His family's probably there. He's just gonna have one of those nights in that Scotiabank Arena where he just stops everything.
First period ends 0-0. Leafs leading in shots 15-7. I have here a pretty dominant period for the Leafs. Second period starts. Kerfoot gets a good chance, sets up Kap-anen for a one-timer, stoned by Binnington. And then 11:30 of the first, Oscar Sundqvist blasts one by Freddie. 1-0 St. Louis. I start getting worried because I see the fourth lines on the ice, and I'm like, God, Jason Spezza's never gonna see the ice again now. It's been on like his -1.
Dude, I'm gonna stop you right there. That goal that Freddie let in off Sundqvist, I hated that goal. I hated that goal. And usually I'm a Freddie Anderson apologist. But that goal, like he can't be doing stuff like that, man. Like that was just a measly slap shot that he completely whiffed on. And it's like, dude, your team is flying tonight, and they needed you just to make the saves that you could make, and you just had to let that one in. And I know he's been amazing, but sometimes, like, I'm starting to get a little sick of the odd softy he lets in, man. I know it's early.
He didn't have his best game
No,
tonight.
I know it's early, but this is something we've seen over the past couple of years. Like, sometimes he just lets in a goal that just snaps all the momentum, and I don't know if I could stand up for him if he lets in goals like that anymore. Like, I hated that goal, man. It was brutal. I did not like it at all.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. Those are ones that you have to have.
Like, it wasn't
Especially
top
on the
shelf.
angle.
Like,
He's
it was a
he's
short
coming down.
side, but like in between his glove and pad, and he just whiffed on it. Like, he didn't even get a piece of it.
Yeah, it wasn't even a good chance.
No,
coming
on a
down the
fourth
wing there,
line,
yeah.
against the fourth line, like, oh man, that was a killer.
But like I just said, Ryan, so the fourth line's on the ice. The Blues score. I'm all worried. I'm like, Spezza's never going to see the ice again. But just over 3 minutes later, Spezza battling out front of the net, keeps the puck alive. Freddie the GOAT again comes in, bangs in the rebound. His second of the year. Leafs make it 1-1.
Yeah, it was a hell of a bat out of the air for Spezza. Just a right place, right time for Freddie the GOAT.
And then, Ryan, 24 seconds later, William Nylander with another just breathtaking zone entry. Pass to Mango, pass to Cece, back to Nylander, dangles Jordan Binnington in the net, 2-1 Leafs. Ryan, this is a contender for, like, when we're looking at the Leaf highlights at the end of this season of all the best plays, this goal will be on one of them. This was a beautiful goal by William Nylander.
The beauty passing between Mango and Cece too, and Nylander. I was impressed with just how the tic-tac-toe, and Nylander finally has Nylander actually cut to go to the net. I was like, man, this guy must be feeling it if he's willing to cut towards the net, because that's not a very Willie Nylander thing to do.
Ryan, William Nylander was excellent tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight
no
was the
doubt.
best game he's played in 2 years.
But just
He was
watch
excellent tonight.
Watch the difference in his legs once he scores a goal in a hockey game. Like, it is just like a flip of the switch. As soon as that guy pots a goal, he is forechecking. He's first in on pucks. He's pumped up. And it's like, Willie, I need this from you every night. But man, he's actually been pretty good this season. He was great tonight. You're right.
I know you remember this because you texted me about it, but not long after that, I have here that the Leafs have their legs back after scoring 2 goals. There was a point in the second period where Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Riley, and Barry were all on the ice, and they were dominating, hemming the Blues in, so much so that it forced a penalty on Tavares as he got clipped with a stick at 3:38 left in the second. utter domination. When was the last time you saw a Leaf team dominate like that in the offensive zone?
Man, that's why I texted you. I was like, finally, they have a shift where they hem a team in. All last year, man, it seemed like they never hemmed anyone in. It was always the one and done, dump into the corner or try to deke through two guys and get poke checked. To see them actually have some zone time where they're cycling the puck and kind of playing more of a heavy style, because I find heavy in the offensive zone to be a cycle game where you just wear down the other team from them just constantly chasing you around. So it was just, man, it was a breath of fresh air to finally see them hem a team in for once. And that's why this game, that's why even though they lost tonight, I'm okay with it, because I got to see things like that. And I haven't seen those types of things in the last 2 years. So when I see them hem in the Stanley Cup champions, like, I'm about it, man.
You just have this moment when you're watching it where you're like, oh my God, the Leafs are hemming a team in right now.
I know.
And aggressively hemming them in. 47 seconds left. Morgan Rielly whiffs on clearing the puck out of the zone. Braden Shen, the Blues get a cycle going as a result of that. Braden Shen bangs it in to make it 2-2. After 2 periods, the Leafs out shooting the Blues 26-21, but the game is all tied.
Yeah, it was not Morgan's best night, man.
I saw a great tweet on Twitter where someone was like, $5 to the reporter who asked Rielly about his hangover.
Yeah, Morgan Rielly, love the guy, but not his best night tonight. No way.
12:09 of the third period, Alex Pietrangelo goes hard to the net, isn't picked up by Kasperi Kapanen, and he fires in a nice pass from Perron to make it 3-2 for the Blues. Ryan, things go from bad to worse for Kasperi Kapanen on this one.
Yeah, just missed your man. And on my side of it, I didn't like the goal on Freddie either. I know it was kind of like a bang. It wasn't really bang. Pietrangelo had the puck for a second, but I don't know what Freddie was doing on the ground looking for the Dom Hasek glove save. Like, it's like, dude, push off your post and square up to the guy. Like, what are you doing? I couldn't stand that. Like, sometimes forwards are going to miss their men. And unfortunately, Kasperi Kapanen's not playing well enough right now to miss his man in the defensive zone. But, like, I was not a fan of that goal on Freddie either. Like, why is he flopping around? Like, get up, dude. Like, push off. Square up. Like, you had the time.
I wonder if they did actually go out and have a time last night, because Rielly seemed a little out of it, and Freddie, like, that's how Freddie, appeared to me, is he seemed like he was just not into it tonight.
Well, it's just like, to me, the 2 Leaf goals, the GOAT goal and the Nylander goal, like, those were like hard working. We had to work to get these goals. Some of the goals on Freddie tonight were like, man, that was, you could have made a play on that. Like, those were just shots that you could make a save on. Like, there's no way Binnington's stopping Nylander's goal. Like, no way. Just too fast, too much speed. The passing was too crisp. When I look at the first goal and then I look at the last goal the Blues score, I'm just like, dude, that can't go in. I did not like those.
Leafs get a few more quality chances after they pull the goalie, but to no avail, and they lose the game 3-2. They outshoot the Blues 34-29, but the Leafs now move to 2-1-1 on the season. Not a horrible start, but also not a great one. But I'm with you. I feel okay after this loss tonight. I really like the way they played. I like their game a lot.
Yeah, like 2-1-1. At least they're not 0-4, you know? Like, they've gotten points 3 out of the 4 games. They've showed signs of things I've wanted to see, like more offensive zone time. I've seen even the defense getting the puck out. Like, they're at least a little bit better than they were before, man. Like, just little things like that.
In fairness, it's a garbage schedule. Like, they've played more games than everybody else. They start the season off with 3 games in 4 nights. That's garbage.
Yeah, and when you're playing a team like the St. Louis Blues, I always got to remember this. Like, this isn't the National Football League. This isn't the NBA. Like, those teams that dominate in those leagues are expected to win games and win them regularly. Like, the NHL's so different. Like, when you're playing the defending Cup champions and they're just two good teams going at it, like, anyone can win that night. The good part about tonight is the Leafs had their chances. They showed some signs, and I can live with that, even though I need Freddie to be a little bit better moving forward.
What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for downloading this week's episode of the show. If you like the show and want to support us, give us a follow on Instagram at Talkin' Buds Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes or wherever else you get your podcasts. Spread the word. Tell your friends. We really appreciate all your support. Thank you.
Now, let's get back to the Toronto Maple Leaf Podcast for all the buds. This is the Talking Buds Podcast.
Ryan, I'd hate to make this the pick on Kasperi Kapanen episode, but tonight, after this loss against the St. Louis Blues, I think the Kapanen on the top line experiment has to end. Admittedly, I was someone who during the preseason was really excited about that and thought that Kasperi Kapanen would thrive in that situation. He hasn't. I think he's brought the line down. Like, Tavares doesn't have a goal yet. Marner was brutal tonight against the... Like, I'm not blaming Kap-anen for Mitch Marner. I didn't think Mitch Marner had a very good game tonight either. But I just feel like, I'm the first one to get on Babs about anything and everything. But he said repeatedly about guys like Hyman. The guys like playing with Hyman because he goes and gets them the puck. And I think part of the reason that line did so well last year is because they had the gritty style play of Zach Hyman. So I think it's time. Apparently Hyman's going to be back by the end of the month. So I think for the next couple weeks, let's put Trevor Moore up there. Let's put Mikheyev up there. It's Mikheyev, not Mikheyev.
Yes.
They specified that.
Yes.
Yes, they specified that. It is Mikheyev. Let's try Mikheyev up there. Something else, because this Kap-anen, he's not playing well, and I think he's dragging the rest of the line down. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he's playing his off wing, so that could affect him. Some guys can handle it better than others. Obviously, he isn't handling it very well. I just think that line, why Hyman fits so well on that line, is because it's just like Marner and Tavares. Marner's the wheeler and dealer. Tavares is the Johnny on the spot, put the puck in the net, and Hyman's the go-get-it guy. And those three mixed together are perfect. Kasperi Kapanen is get the puck in the neutral zone, skate it through the neutral zone, make a play on the rush, use your speed. He has a good shot, so when he has a chance, he can take that. And I just think those, sometimes stylistically, when you have three guys like that on a line, it may not work. And that may be what it is right now. But it also could be Kasperi Kapanen just struggling and not having a very good start to the season. Like, you never know. But I just think, I think putting him on the third line, like, he's not going to start playing better. Like, maybe he'll get more chances on that line because
maybe it'll get him out of his own head, right?
Yeah,
like,
and he'll be the number one option on that line too.
Like that stupid penalty that he took on Saturday night where he threw his stick. If you watch that, he's doing that out of frustration. He's just had enough.
But I just
because
don't get
he knows
what
he's not playing well.
I know he's not playing well, but like, it's still way too early to be that frustrated, in my opinion. Like,
but I think but if you look at it from his perspective, right, like, he's destined for the third line. Okay, Hyman's out. This is his chance to play on the first line and get those minutes and really establish himself and make a name for himself.
And he has it.
Not that he hasn't already made a name for himself in his career, but just like take his game to the next level. Be like, I'm a top 6 forward, not a top 9 forward. And he hasn't done that. And like I said, people are talking about how the captain hasn't scored a goal yet. And they're blaming Kasperi Kapanen.
Well, I'm going to get to the captain later, but Kasperi Kapanen, like, I get being frustrated. He's not playing very well. It's not just the scoring. It's just all over the ice. He looks a little lost. But to be throwing your stick out of frustration this early into the season, it's like, come on. Like, That's a little much. I let's stop making these narratives through the media about why guys are doing things, like why Tavares hasn't scored yet. It must be on Kap-anen. Like, no, the guy's just not playing very well, and maybe he just doesn't fit in on that line. Maybe he needs to go down to the third line and be the number one offensive option on that line, and maybe he'll succeed doing that.
I think it will. I think it'll get him out of his own head, which I think is entirely his problem right now.
Yeah, he's never going to be a 40 goal scorer. He's going to be a 20 goal scorer, and that's a really good year on the third line and maybe scoring a little bit on special teams, which I don't even know if I don't think he's even on the second power play. Is he?
Yeah, he is.
Is he? Wow.
Yeah.
That second power play is a blur to me, dude.
Yeah, I know it is. I know.
Every time it comes on, it's just like, I know they got to give it a shot, but like, you got to keep the first unit out there as much as possible.
You're so invested in the first unit.
Oh yeah.
Although tonight, because he had a rough game, I wouldn't have minded giving Barry a few reps out there with the first unit.
Yeah, Barry can.
I'm just on the Tyson Barry train, man.
Yeah, him and Morgan Riley are so similar, man. They're so similar.
Well, you alluded to it now, so you said that you were going to get to the captain later. So tell us, Ryan, what is it that you'd like to say about
more later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For like a segment later.
Yeah, like a segment thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Tease. There's a hook to stay around.
Yes.
All right, well, then we'll move on to this because I wanted to ask you this. Former defenseman, you understand the defensive side of the game. What is going on with the Leafs in the defensive zone, Ryan? I watch, and there's still just a fire drill. Like, there's lots of standing. There's no structure. Like, Dave Haxtell has this work cut out for him, man. And I don't know. I'm at the point after what happened on Saturday where I'm kind of sitting just having this, like, dilemma where I'm like, do I need to just accept that this team is constructed in such a way that they're never going to be good defensively? But they're always going to be a fire drill defensively.
But the funny thing about that is, though, is hasn't it always been like that? Like, not just for this Babcock era. Like, for all the years we've been watching this hockey team, like, they've always been a kind of a fire drill on their own end.
Yeah, it's just like, it's so frustrating to watch. Like, the 3 St. Louis goals tonight were, well, except for the first one where Freddie was really soft, but like the Pietrangelo one in particular, like, I know that you got on Freddie for going down too early, but it's like there's Kapanen not picking up, it's like wide open. Alex Pietrangelo
I don't think it's just going to the net. It's not just on the D, man. Like, some of the forwards have to be held accountable for the play in their own end too.
Well, Ryan, no, that's what I'm getting at. The forwards are like, I'm not talking about the 6 guys back there, okay? I'm talking about team defense. Like, whether it's structure with the breakout, the Leafs are at their best when they can get you, the opponent, to turn the puck over in the neutral zone and they can go the other way. If I'm a coach and I'm game planning for them, I'm literally doing the old dump the puck in and go get it, because this team can't break it out of their own zone effectively.
Well, you just watch the Blues tonight, and then you watch the Bruins. Like, it just seems like these hockey teams are so much better at forechecking than the Maple Leafs forwards too. Like, they at least are doing a better job. But like, you watch the Blues tonight, like, if I'm a defenseman on the Leafs, like, it's hard to come back and make a great pass below your goal line when the guy's barreling down on you and he's about half a second away from you when you touch the puck. Like, you can't exactly make a grade A outlet pass when you got Ryan O'Reilly barreling down on you. Like, you have to throw it up the boards, and that's where your forwards have to be in their spot to have a chance to win a puck battle to get the puck out. Like, there's giveaways, there's pizzas up the middle where you have time, you just make a bad decision. But there's some times where Riley's going back and he has half a second to make a play with the puck, and it's sometimes like you have to throw it up the wall, and sometimes your guy's not going to be there and the Blues guy's going to be there, and that makes the D look bad. But I think the forwards always have to do a better job of getting back and supporting the D, because I've been in those situations where it's like you can't make a great play when a guy's about to hammer you.
Just for clarity, do you have to throw it up the whole wall or the half wall?
The half wall. Or ring it around your net.
the half wall.
Just if you're gonna throw it away, do it with some authority. Don't just like shovel it.
Well, your comment about the forechecking of the other team brings me to my next point that I wanted to discuss before we move into bums and beauties. And that is that on Saturday night during Coach's Corner, Don Cherry, who, and we all know Grapes' best days are behind him. He's a bit of a senile old man now. And by a bit of a senile old man, I mean he's an extremely senile old man. But he did bring up a polarizing topic within the fan base, which is the Leafs team toughness. And he said they won't win a Stanley Cup as currently constructed because they're not tough enough. And you just alluded to the Blues being so aggressive on the forecheck. And I think people sometimes, when they think toughness, think fights and guys like Milan Lucic or something like that. And my opinion of toughness is exactly what you just said of the St. Louis Blues. Just so aggressive in your face on the forecheck. Not always so concerned with the finesse plays. So where are you at on Don Cherry's comments?
I'm just looking at it as a whole. Like, if you thinking about that comment and thinking about the two teams that played tonight, you just look how the two teams are constructed. You have the Toronto Maple Leafs, who pay 4 top skilled superstars to score goals and provide points, and everyone else just kind of has to fill in the gaps. You look at the St. Louis Blues, it seems like every guy on their team is just a good hockey player and does their role, and it commits to a team concept, and there's no egos. They got a great blue line, a good captain. It's like the Leafs might be a great team, but maybe the way they're just constructed with all these guys at the top compared to just the Blues having a bunch of good pros who forecheck and work hard and also have the skill to put it away when they have to. Like, it just, to me, the team toughness is just the way the team is constructed in general.
100,000% agree. I think the toughness thing is just a waste of time argument because this management group has zigged when everyone else has zagged.
Yeah, like it's not to me, Cherry, like, my problem with Don Cherry is I'm so tired of watching a Leaf broadcast but having a Bruin talk in between the first and second period.
Well, he also gets himself into trouble where he goes, they need to be tougher, and then says they don't have enough Canadians. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like,
right.
I think I'm not going to, like, Cherry's a legend, but it's just, I'm getting a little sick of the, like, let's get a little Homer on the broadcast. Like, I'm tired of having a Bruin talk in between the first and second intermission for my entire life. And
Ryan, there are if there are any non-Leaf fans who are listening to this podcast for whatever reason, and they just heard you say that you want Hockey Night in Canada to get a little more Homer, they're throwing things at their
I'm not talking about like Joe
right
Bowen Homer, but like I've never heard Cherry. Like it's just the fact that he's a Bruin, and to me, when he says team toughness, I think he means what you don't mean. I think he means drop the gloves.
Oh yeah, no. Well, that's not happening. And again, let's get back to the original point here. This team is built to outskill you. That's how they're built. They're built with a philosophy, whether you agree with it or not. They're built with the philosophy that we don't need to be tough because while you're running around trying to hit us, we have the puck and we're going to score goals. That is the way this team is built. It's very new school thinking. And I'm not chirping it. I actually kind of like that they're trying something different. And you know what? When it works, it really works. We talked about it in the St. Louis game tonight where they had their big 5 on the ice and they were dominating.
Yeah.
The defending Stanley Cup champions are running all over the ice and are forced to take a penalty because they can't keep up. So that right there, if you watched the game tonight and you watched that stretch of play, I know they didn't score a goal during that stretch of play, but if you watch that stretch, that is Kyle Dubas's vision right there.
But the problem with that is tonight they had those chances, but they're the type of hockey team where it's like if they don't like every team has to capitalize on their chances, but they're not good. They'll never be good enough defensively and never be tough enough to just stick out like a 2-0 1-zip game. Like, they have to score on their chances. And tonight, there was a ton. They could have had 5 goals tonight. That's how many good opportunities they have, and they didn't. And look what happened. Like,
That's a good point.
There was a
And
tough
that's the
team.
counter argument.
Yeah, there was a tough team
absolutely a good
across the ice who was just, they could gut it out. They can gut it out if they're not down. And you know what?
All right.
Screw it. I want a homer on the broadcast. I don't care.
Ryan, there are people who are
whatever. We're the center of the universe. I'm sorry.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like
no. I don't see anyone else on Hockey Night in Canada. The Hockey Night in Canada is based around one hockey team. I need to see a homer on that broadcast. I don't care.
And that's all. And they're the only team that moves the needle.
Yeah.
Sorry to tell you.
They're literally the clock that ticks the NHL. Like they're the ticking hand on the clock of the NHL.
All right, Ryan, it's time to move into it. You cue us up for the segment.
Bum and Beauty. Hit the music.
It's time to find out who's a bum and who's a beauty. Take it away, buds.
Ryan, I went first last week. You're going first this week. Who is your beauty of the week?
My beauty of the week is Austin Matthews.
Oh, third star of the week in the NHL.
Yeah, dude, it's just like I don't care what he's doing shift to shift because every goal he scores seems important and it's electric. And I love the incorporation of the one-timer. I still don't think it's the greatest one-timer on planet Earth, but at least he's trying it every game. It's not just he misses one and it's not that great, so he's just going to go back to the same old wrist shot. Like, I saw him take 2 or 3 tonight, and they both looked pretty good. So I'm enjoying the hell out of our franchise player playing like a franchise player. But before I move to you, they showed the stat today, and he's Mr. October.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, they did.
But guess what, man? I need you to be Mr. April. I really don't care about you being
Ryan,
Mr. October.
We need you to be Mr. April, May, and June.
Exactly. Like, I don't need to, like, I know what you're doing in October is great and you start well, but to me, it's like, it just shows that he runs out of gas. Like, we need you to be Mr. Spring, not Mr. Fall. Like, but other than that, hell of a start, and he's just electric, dude. I'm enjoying him so far this season.
Ryan, my beauty of the week is William Nylander.
Oh, boy. I don't think that happened once last year.
I'm buying into the zone entries. I'm bought in. Every time that dude comes over the opposing team's blue line, the rest of the team comes with him and they get some sort of offensive chance out of it. He got the big goal. He got a big goal on Saturday night against the Montreal Canadiens. And I thought he was outstanding tonight. He was the best Leaf on the ice tonight. It was his best game that he's played since like before last season when he missed half the year. He was excellent last night. And everybody within the sound of my voice, I'm here to tell you that I'm buying into the zone entries because it's legit. It's legit.
Well, when he's actually like gonna do something with the puck. It's not legit when he turns at the hash marks and gives it away.
Well, when he plays like he did, like you said earlier, the difference in his play when he scores.
I just think he looks like he's got an extra step. Like, he's not starting late. He's not over in Sweden for 3 months doing nothing before getting signed. Like, he's had a whole summer. He had no excuses. The spotlight's not really on him as much. And I just think he's got an extra step. I still want to see him. He's still got a lot to prove to me, though. I'm still not sold.
He's already played better in 4 games this year than he did all last year.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
So that's a good sign. And they've put him with Matthews, and hopefully this year Babs doesn't screw around with it, which I don't think he's going to, and just leave him there and let the two of them work together because they both had really good starts to the season. All right, bum of the week. I'm going to go first and get mine out of the way because I'm going with the obvious choice. Kasperi Kapanen. We talked about him earlier. The experiment with him on the top line has to end. I was wrong. I thought he'd be a good fit there. He hasn't been. I think he's affecting the rest of the line. Kasperi Kapanen, bum of the week.
Alrighty. Bum of the week. The captain.
Oh.
The captain, man.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
I'm not impressed,
I don't know if I agree with you on this.
I'm not impressed.
I don't know if I agree with you.
You can go for the Nick Shores, the Nick Batans, the Marty Marinsons, but guy was named captain, gets paid a hell of a lot of money, and most of the time I find him very invisible.
I don't agree.
I just think
agree,
he's
Ryan.
one of the slowest players on the ice. Like, it's just... Yeah. I think he's overrated. Like, I think he's overrated, man. Like, the guy can score, no doubt. He's gonna have 30-plus goals.
You're getting off the rails. You're getting a little Skip Bayless on the show.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
dude, it's just when you watch games for guys who are top-rated hockey players, they put out this NHL top 50. Every site, every Canadian network, NHL network, they all do their top 50. And you look at some of the guys on those lists. And you like Brad Marchand, top guy on all those lists. Even though I want to punch the guy in the face. That guy dominates hockey games. Like, when you watch him play, he dominates hockey games. John Tavares does not dominate hockey games.
Well, his best, and this is why, like, if you want to go on a whole other tangent about signing him to 7 years or whatever, even though you would have never got him unless you gave him that term, he's not a spring chicken anymore.
No,
Ryan. He's 29 years old. You're a senior citizen in the NHL when you're 29.
I don't know. Like, I think
his days of dominating are behind him.
I have to take my expectation down a notch for the guy, but I'm telling you. He had such a great year last year because the chemistry between him, Marner, and Kapanen is perfect because of the different roles all three of them play. Yeah, but he's got to create for himself, man. Like, he can't always rely on Mitchie to set him up. Like, he's a good enough hockey player to create for himself. Like,
I'll agree with you that he hasn't played his best.
I find him so invisible shift to shift. Unless he's right in front of the net, like, I don't notice him. He's never in the play. He's always behind.
I'm taking an opposing stance, and I'm saying that Kapanen's bringing that line down. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say Johnny's been amazing. He hasn't. I don't think Marner's been that good either. He got the nice goal.
No, Marner's not been great either.
Against Columbus the other night.
But the thing about Marner, I know he's a younger guy, and he's got a different game than Johnny, but, like, Marner still, like, dangles with the puck and, like, is going around guys. Like, Johnny's just, like, he always looks like he's a step behind, and I'm just I hate it because I love the guy and I respect him and I'm happy he's the captain. And I know next week if he scores 3 goals before next episode, I'll eat my words happily. But I'm seeing a guy who's just a step behind right now, and he needs to be better because he doesn't have the luxury to not be good. Like, he has to be good to me. Like, he has to be good. That's my expectation for him.
They need to get Kapanen off that line. They need to do a reset and just get back out there and play the way they can play, and everybody get back on the same page. Because right now, the way William Nylander's playing, Tavares, Marner, and Kapanen are the Leafs' number 2 line. I don't care what Babs says on his depth chart. To my eyes,
yeah, it's 1A, 1B, man. I don't really see
Nylander and Matthews.
It's 1A, 1B.
Well. They're the top line.
Yeah, I think it's a 1A, 1B situation.
We rarely disagree, but I don't totally disagree with you in the sense that, like, I don't think that he's played, like, well and you're just, like, out of your mind. But I also think that they're completely out of whack with Kapanen on that line, and he's just screwing up the mojo. And even for himself, like we talked about it, he's got to get back down on the third line and get his head right, because right now he can't be up playing these types of minutes, throwing sticks at people.
Yeah, Johnny also just has to start creating for himself. He was red hot last year, started the season. Red hot.
He's got to get the puck down low and get the cycle game going. He's got to find a way.
That's where he's at his best, is when he is down low doing that. But I find it very rare that he did it tonight a couple of times. Like, I thought tonight he was okay. I thought early in the game he was really good, and then the second half of the game I found him. I didn't know where he was. He was nowhere. So I just want him to be better. We talk about this every week for the Bum and Beauty. For people who've never listened before, it's easy to take the Marinsons of the world, but sometimes you got to stand and make a tough decision and go after one of the big boys, especially a guy who is as respected as John Tavares. So that's what I'm doing tonight. I got to go after him.
In that same sort of vein, I'd like to do a special shout out tonight to Alex Kerfoot. I kind of called him out last week about being sort of out of sync and not looking right. And I thought in the Saturday night game and then again tonight, I thought he was excellent. And he's really settling into that third line role nicely. So shout out Alex Kerfoot on working your way out of bum status.
Yeah, he's been decent.
All right, Ryan, Thursday night, the Tampa Bay Lightning are at Scotiabank Arena.
Are you surprised if at the end of that game they're 2-2-1?
No, but you know what? Can I be honest? I'm okay at this point in the season with them losing games if they play like they played tonight. It's still early in the season.
So you believe in a good loss?
I believe in a good loss this early in the season, yes. Because the St. Louis Blues proved last year that you can be in last place in the league in January and still win the Stanley Cup.
If there's any league where you can... Dude, no one is going... Like, what the Lightning did last year was pretty rare. But, like, other than that, this league is just, like, ridiculously... Like, the parity is out of this world. Like, anyone can beat anyone any night, and you can... We take it personally because we watch it every single game. In one game, we might think the Leafs are the worst team in the league. But, like, tonight, like you said, we got to hold our horses a little bit because they played a really good hockey game against a really good team.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're still, we're in single-digit games of the season. So if they want to go out and lose a game but play well, I'm okay with that at this point. What did this team do last year? They racked up a bunch of wins in the first few months while everyone else was playing shinny and waiting for the new year to actually get their legs going and get geared up into playoff hockey. And they stunk down the stretch.
They're a 500 hockey team.
And because they banked a bunch of points in the first few months of the season, they were able to still make the playoffs. So I'd rather them take a few licks right now, get your head on straight, realize that you got to play a more structured defensive game, realize to your point that you got to capitalize on your chances when you have them. And then when we get into January, February, let's get rolling. We know how to play the right way every single day.
Well, hopefully. I'm expecting, like, this team, like, I know what you just said, you laid everything out, but this team needs to be in a top 2 spot in this division. Like, that's my expectation for this hockey team by the end of the year. That is,
for
like,
sure.
I'm not doing this 3rd seed wild card crap. Like, I need them to be a top 2 seed in their division. Like, that is...
The Lightning are 1-1-1 right now.
Yeah, and the Carolina Hurricanes are 3-0. So it's like you can't take anything too seriously right now.
Jake Gardner with the OT winner the other night.
Yeah,
for the Carolina Hurricanes.
And the Bruins are 2-0. Surprise.
The Buffalo Sabres and their beautiful white and gold unis are sitting in second place at 2-0-1.
Yeah, like it's early, but it's I don't want to get too high, too low, but I want to see some guys start playing a lot better.
Saturday night, they're in Detroit to face the Detroit Red Wings. And then next week, Monday, Tuesday, Minnesota Wild are... Like, again, look at this. So, Saturday night against the Red Wings. Tuesday, at home against the Minnesota Wild. Wednesday, in Washington against the Capitals. Like, what the hell is this? Do any other teams in the league have this many back-to-backs 2 weeks into the season?
Well, you get them out of the way early, though.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Get them out.
You know how I feel about that Leafs right. Wild game next week?
I know that's maybe
the most
let's do next
boring
week's
hockey team in the league.
Yeah. Maybe let's do next week's show on Wednesday after the Capitals game because we'll probably be way more fired up after watching that one.
Yeah. Any game against the Wild? Ugh. No.
I think that'll do it for this week's episode, Ryan. I just want to say one thing to everyone who listens to us. We love the support you give us. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. If you have the time or if you're feeling so inclined, please go on iTunes and write a review if you can. It helps with the algorithm, helps our show get recommended to other people so we can grow the show and gain some new listeners. It really does help. I know it's kind of annoying and no one wants to open their app and go in and do it. I get it. I don't necessarily do it all the time either, but it really does help. So 2 minutes of your life to do that would mean the world to us. Again, thank you for downloading every week, and we really appreciate the support. Thank you very much for downloading this week's episode, everybody. We'll see you next time.